So yeah, this is recording try number 2. So today I'm going to show how to use a Vive tracker as a head tracking device in Farming Simulator 25. As you can see, we have the full head tracking in every direction. You can look around 180 degrees, up, down, just perfectly tracked right here. So if you still have one of these laying around with some base stations in your room or are an active VR user, then this is an option to get head tracking. A little disclaimer first, do not buy something like this for head tracking. So if you don't already have it, do not buy it. It's not the perfect head tracking idea or the perfect head tracking device for it. It works, yes, but with some downsides, and it's way too expensive for what it does. So if you're considering buying something for this, do not do so. For anybody else who already has something like this in his house, I will now show how to set it up. Initially, we need a program that is called OpenTrack, which looks like this. As you can see, if I move around and look around, the little octopus is moving and following my head. This program you can get in the browser. Just look on GitHub for this exact thing here and look up OpenTrack and download the latest release. And if you unzip that and open it, you're going to be meeting with this little window here. Initially, you can also use the default profile, so just let it on default. And as an input device, you will set Valve SteamVR in here. As a output device, you want FreeTrack 2 Enhanced. As the filter, we're going to set a Acela in here. And for the rest of the options, we can go afterwards. This is everything you initially need from this program right here. And to get everything running into the program themselves from the Head tracker, we're going to need SteamVR. So if you have a tracker like this already, you probably also have SteamVR. If not, download it on Steam. And then when you open SteamVR, it's going to ask you for a HMD, which is a head-mounted device, or a VR headset. We don't want to use a VR headset along with it, since it eats even more FPS than it already does. What we want is a driver called Null Driver. This driver makes a virtual headset, which allows us to use SteamVR without an actual headset. This driver you can either enable if you already have the driver installed. I do not know if that's a default installation. For me it was, so it should be default installed. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to your local disk, go to program files, scroll down until you find Steam, go on Steam, then you're gonna go on Steam apps, go on common, then you're gonna search for SteamVR, then you're gonna go for drivers. On drivers, you're gonna want to find the null driver right here. So as you can see, these all have been installed with uninstall. That means that it is a default driver I have. So usually you should have it too. Go into null driver, resources, settings, and default VR settings. This little window will pop up. On this window, you're gonna want to set enabled on true. This should be default on false. So we're gonna set it to true. And make sure to put window X and window Y to -2000, as well as window width, window height, and render width and render height on 1 as well, since we do not want a big screen to be appearing on our screen that we can't move at all, and we want the best performance out of it. I have the display frequency on 120, even though this is not as important. You can leave it on 90 or whatever it is on default. And after that, you're gonna start SteamVR, and it should show up this little icon right here, which is the null driver headset. Then you want to turn on your head tracker with the base stations as well, and afterwards you should all of them see running up here. Then you can open the program. Then you're going to click on the little hammer icon here, which is on the input settings here. Then you want to select a device. Make sure to select the tracker up here. If you have more than one tracker or anything else laying around, make sure it is the right serial number right here. So select the right tracker, press on OK. and now you're set with the tracker themselves. Then you want to open the farming simulator. After farming simulator is launched, you want to go to options. In the options tab, it's going to appear at first, which is the head and eye tracking. This has to be enabled in order to work at all. After that, you've enabled it, we can go on to whatever save you want. There's no nods or anything required. After you're back in game, what you're going to do is grab any tractor or any drivable vehicle, and you're going to have to be in the inside or cab view. Then you're going to press whatever shortcut you made for it, or you're going to just press on tracking start right here. Make sure to be like in a little position that you're usually playing in, so not bent forward or anything. So it needs to be in where your default position would be. I'm going to press on start here. Wait for a second, and as you can see, the little octopus is moving again. And the same thing should appear in game as well. You can see I can look around again. If it is the same case as I had, which I figured is that when the axes are not perfectly made. So for example, this is the Z axis, we have the X axis, and of course up and down with the Y axis. If these axes are not perfectly straight aligned, so if it, for example, if you go forward and it goes kind of like diagonal like this, then the axes are not perfectly aligned with the tracker or with the play space. What you're gonna have to do then is you're gonna grab one of your controllers of any HMD device. I do not have a other solution to this yet, so I haven't found a solution to if there's any other option to recenter SteamVR to anything else than one of these. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna hold down the button right here for the menu in SteamVR. Wait for it to recenter. And after recentered, the axis should be perfectly aligned with the tractor. So if I hold it again, or probably recenter, yep, perfect. So we have the axis perfectly aligned. If this is not the case, it should look weird for a second. If it looks weird, I'm gonna see the options real quick. You can make little shortcut keys for centering, for example. I have an F4, and tracking on and off is F5 for me. So if I want to center now, and I want just look straight at your monitor, in this case, if it, for example, is like this, and you're like, oh, there's no centered, of course, just look straight at your monitor, press the button you have signed, and there you go, it recentered, and we are perfectly in center again. So yeah, this is basically how it works. Another thing that could appear is, for example, a couple of axes are inverted. So if you go to the right and it will go to the left instead. You can also change all of this in the settings right here. If you go to output, you can invert any axis. I recommend doing the after invert, not the before invert. I just take the right things here. So for example, if the x-axis goes backwards when you're going forward or something like this, just invert it and it will obviously do the opposite thing. Same goes for the middle post. For example, I thought that the middle post was a little nicked in, so it was looking up too much when I was looking straight. So I thought I'll just change it to like 6 degrees downwards, so it looks a little more down from the center of the view. So yeah, this is all you can do for whatever setup you have. Obviously, stuff like here, you can also change the axes of how much input you have. So as you can see, if I look around here, this axis moves. And if this is too fast for you or too slow for you, or you need a higher sensitivity for it, you can adjust everything in here for every axis you find. Just test out which axis does what. For example, that should be the x-axis. So if you see I move left and right, this goes up and down. I have a maximum of 35 here. This all depends on your setup. I, as you can see, have a very wide screen, so I can move my head very much to like almost 90 degrees of the sides and look around by that way. If you have a little monitor, like a 16:9 or a little 21:9 monitor, you obviously don't have that much rotation. It's depending on how close your monitor is and everything. So you can set it up specifically for your setup. this one is just perfectly for me. And yeah, that's everything in here to find. Yeah, you'll figure it out for yourself. But this is basically how you get everything running at once. And just do really keep in mind that this needs a lot of FPS. I've decreased by like 30 to 40 FPS when I've done this while running SteamVR in the background of Farming Simulator. It really eats a lot. So if you have a very low end PC and you want to do this, I do not recommend doing so. Really, just do it when you have a well set up, and if you are fine with offering some FPS for the tracking. Obviously, the tracking with a Vive tracker is superior, so it's really smooth. But yeah, anything else, I do not recommend doing so. But yeah, that's just if you want to do the setup. I hope it did help you. If you have further questions, just put in the comments because I definitely will answer all of them or try to answer all of them. And if you have setup issues, um, also if you want this guide on German as well, I can do it on German as well once again. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed the setup if it worked for you. And yeah, have fun. Goodbye.